Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of No Huddle with Zach Arndt. And today we are taking a look at the Alabama Crimson Tide, giving a little preview for the upcoming 2022 season. Head coach Nick Saban entering his 16th year as a head coach at Alabama. Offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien is coming back, along with defensive coordinator Pete Golding. Alabama returns a lot of talent, including Bryce Young at quarterback, the Heisman Trophy winner in 2021, along with Will Anderson Jr., outside linebacker, probably the best player in college football heading into the 2022 season. They also have Jordan Battle, probably the best safety in college football. He had 85 total tackles last year, along with 3 interceptions in his junior season. They did lose some key players in Evan Neal, Jamison Williams, John Mechie. Evan Neal was a first-round pick at left tackle. Jamison Williams possessed speed that not very many people have in college. And then John Mechie, he got hurt at the end of last year. Him and Jamison Williams led the receiving corps in both yards and catches last year. Taking a look at some of the 2022 recruits they brought in, you have edge rusher Jeremiah Alexander and Jihad Campbell, both 5-stars, lead the way. And then you have 5-star quarterback Ty Simpson, 4-star wide receiver Aaron Anderson, 4-star offensive tackle Elijah Pritchett, 4-star running back Emmanuel Henderson, 4-star athlete Isaiah Bond, 4-star wide receiver Shaz Preston, 4-star offensive tackle Tyler Booker, and then 4-star D-lineman Curtis Perry. Alabama last year went 13-2, finished 7-1 in the SEC, made their way to the playoff. They beat Cincinnati. Then they went to the national championship and lost to Georgia 18-33. Looking ahead to this season, they start the year off against Utah State, followed by a road trip to Texas, UL Monroe, Vanderbilt, at Arkansas, Texas A&M at home, at Tennessee, Mississippi State, at LSU, at Ole Miss, Austin Peay, and then the Iron Bowl against Auburn. Looking at the schedule, I see no way Alabama doesn't go undefeated. Their toughest games are probably going to be against Texas A&M, that road trip to Tennessee, and then the road trip to Ole Miss. They do not play Georgia this year. They do have Texas on the road, but I think Texas is 1 or 2 years away from really being solid. I think Alabama's defense is going to be too much for Texas, because Texas's defense obviously isn't going to be very strong enough to stop Alabama consistently. There is a trip-up game. They play A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi State all in a row before a road trip to LSU, and that's always a big game. LSU, Alabama, both teams give their all when they meet up, so that could be a slip-up, but I see them going undefeated in the regular season, making it to the SEC championship. I have them playing Georgia. I think the winner of that will be the 1 seed in the playoff. I don't see either team losing in the regular season. Looking at some 2021 team rankings, they ranked 6th nationally last year in scoring at 40 points per game, 75th in rushing, 7th in passing with 340 yards per game, and then 7th in total offense at 488 yards per game. The defense made a step up. They were 18th national in scoring, 4th in rush defense. Sounds like a Saban defense right there. 50th in passing. I'm sure they would like that to be a little bit better. Then you have 7th in total defense. They let up about 300 yards per game. Looking at some returning production, they don't return any starting receivers from last year. They have newcomers Ja'Cory Brooks, who was a sophomore last year. He didn't get a lot of playing time, but he's going to be a breakout star this year. JoJo Earl, also a sophomore. Him and Ja'Cory Brooks were really highly rated in 2021. They got the transfer Jermaine Burton, who's going to be an instant impact, the transfer from Georgia. They have Davion Cohen and Emil Akir Jr. I probably said that wrong. But they have those two returning on the offensive line. They have J.C. Latham. He might be playing offensive line. He did play defensive line in the spring. He's probably going to play a little bit of both if they allow it. I mean, he was a 5-star number 1 offensive lineman in his class in 2021. Looking at tight end, they have Cameron Latu coming back. Obviously, Bryce Young at quarterback, the Heisman winner. Then they got transfer Jahmyr Gibbs, who was a 5-star transfer from Georgia Tech. I believe he was ACC Offensive Player of the Year last year. Really carried Georgia Tech. He was basically their whole offense. Switching over to the defensive side of the ball, Big DJ Dale and Byron Young in the inside on the D-line. Will Anderson on the outside with Dallas Turner. probably the best pass rushing duo in college football. I think some records could be broken with those two. Will Anderson's about guaranteed to get 15 sacks. Dallas Turner, that's a big possibility for him, so having 30 sacks between the two of them would be crazy. You have Henry To'oTo'o at middle linebacker, the senior. And then Kool-Aid McKinstry at corner, along with Eli Ricks, probably the best corner duo in the SEC. Eli Ricks is my number one corner in all of college football right now. I mean, it's a tight race for number one, but right now Eli Ricks is my number one. You also have Kyrie Jackson, who can play in the slot, along with Brian Branch Jr., or I guess just Brian Branch now. Jordan Battle at safety, former All-American, along with DeMarco Helms. So this team's looking really solid across the board. They return Will Reichard as their kicker, and then I believe Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the return specialist. He's just such a dynamic player. Field position last year, I think they ranked 51st last year in field position. Jahmyr Gibbs could change that, get them inside the top 25, hopefully, for Alabama. They ranked 26th in field position on defense. Offensive efficiency, they were 28th. Defensive efficiency, ranked 13th. Explosive plays, they ranked 17th on offense. Big part to Jameson Williams. They're going to have to find a receiver this year to be that big play guy. I believe that can be Jermaine Burton. Explosive defensive plays last year allowed 8th in the nation. Very solid. 34th in finishing drives. 58th on defense in stopping drives. And then they're ranked 74th in turnover margin with projection. And then 19th actual with a +8 turnover margin. Very solid for Nick Saban and the Alabama defense. Last year, Alabama's defense held opponents to just 36% rate last season. 50.6% of all opponents went for fewer than 3 yards, which is crazy to think about. To wrap up the video, I'm going to talk about a player I think that can play a small role in Alabama having success this year. That's backup quarterback Jalen Milroe. He was 82nd ranked in his class in 2021, 4-star quarterback. In the spring game, he did not look like your ordinary backup. He's 6'2", about 215 pounds. I think he can come in maybe in goal line sets or 2-point conversion, maybe 4th and 1. You need a special play. Jalen Milroe can come in. That's a player to keep an eye out for when you're watching Alabama this year. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one.